welcome to Mystery Mugs and Melanin. My name is Crystal.
I'm Celine.
And how are you, Celine?
I'm good. It's been a really busy week. I'm happy, to be back with the podcast.
I'm so excited to be back as well. Do you have your mug, your coffee? What's going on?
Always.
I
Always.
have my little hot coffee today. I'm usually a cold brew girl, but I got my hot coffee today.
Same.
So what's been going on? I know that it's been a while, you guys, since we have been out with a new episode. But if you've seen the intro, you know that a lot has been going on with us, but we're back and we're ready to get back at it. Anything new with you? Well, I know there's new stuff with you. So
There's been a lot of new stuff. Not everything I'm ready to share with everyone at this moment, but it's been life-changing events, I guess you could say, in my life right now, which did contribute to, part of us being away for a while. But I am slowly getting back into, like a routine, getting my life back in order. Kind of feels like starting over. Yeah, my own little groove. So I'm just happy to be
right. I think the biggest thing that both of us have been dealing with is moving.
Yeah.
We both moved. Your move was bigger than mine, but we both moved in this time. So, that was something that really contributed to us having to take that little hiatus.
It did. But it's exciting because we're actually closer together now. So we'll be able to have some of our episodes together. We'll be able to film together instead of being apart all the time. So that's exciting.
Yes, it is. I can't wait to do an in-person podcast.
I know. I mean, it's not like we don't see each other all the time, but we just never record together.
Right. When we're together, we're not thinking about like podcasting. We're thinking about like nothing.
Getting coffee, shopping.
Right. food, coffee, and relaxing.
Salsa.
Oh yeah, chips and sauce, queso.
In queso. Mm-hmm.
All right. So what is today's episode?
Yeah. In today's episode, we will be unraveling the perplexing case of LaShaya Stine, a bright teenager whose aspirations were cut short by a mysterious disappearance in the summer of 2016. So join us as we explore the events leading up to that fateful night and the search for answers that has spanned years. It's been 7 years since LaShaya Stine vanished, leaving behind a trail of questions and a family tormented by the unknown. Sabrina Jones, LaShaya's mother, faces the unimaginable agony of not knowing where her daughter is or what she's enduring. LaShaya Stine was a promising 16-year-old living in Aurora, Colorado, with dreams of a bright future. She was a diligent honor roll student with a passion for nursing. She even secured an internship opportunity at the University of Colorado Hospital. But on the night of July 15th, 2016, LaShaya vanished, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. On the evening of July 15th, LaShaya was excited about her upcoming job interview, and her mother, Sabrina Jones, went to bed not knowing that this would be the last time she saw her daughter. So nothing seemed out of the ordinary the day LaShaya disappeared. Her mother went to bed planning to take her daughter to an interview at Firehouse Subs the next day. At about 2 a.m., LaShaya, she kind of fussed at her younger brothers for being awake and told them that if they didn't go to sleep, she would tell their mother. So, of course, they went to sleep and she closed the door behind them. The next morning, when morning arrived, her family went to wake her for her interview and discovered that LaShaya was missing. They called her phone. They tried to locate her in the neighborhood. They went out in the neighborhood to look for her. Her phone went unanswered, and the attempts to locate her yielded no results.
Mm. So, question: how old do you know? How old the brothers were?
I don't know how old the brothers were. They were a couple years younger than her. From what I've um, seen, she was the older child.
Okay. Apparently, if she's fussing at them to go to bed, I'm sure they are younger than her.
Yeah. But can you imagine waking up and your child is not there?
No, I can't, and I don't want to.
No. So panic set in, and the family turned to the police for assistance. Okay. So initially, the Aurora Police Department treated LaShaya as a runaway case, which is often
Common.
yeah, it's very common.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until actually the police chief returned from vacation and then the case was re-examined with closer scrutiny. Investigators noticed LaShaya's abrupt withdrawal from social media. I mean, she's 16, so how important is social media?
Everything.
And she also had no contact with anyone at all that knew her. So this, even though people run away and may not be in contact with their immediate family, it's not like if they run away, they're going to cut contact with every known person in their life.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about back to, being a teenager, there were times when, okay, you're upset with your parents or whatever, but you're going to keep in contact with your friends
Your best
or
friend.
your best friend. And if it's not going to be your best friend, then what? A little boyfriend or something, but somebody's going to know something. And 16-year-olds are not just getting off of social media in 2016.
Right. So the pattern of her behavior indicated that she probably hadn't fled voluntarily. The family was informed of surveillance footage after the investigation started, and it showed LaShaya walking near East Montview Boulevard and Peoria Street, not too far from her home, at about 2:30 a.m. And this was on that same night that she disappeared. Her mother, Sabrina, she does believe that LaShaya must have been meeting someone, but did intend to return home. All of her belongings were left behind. Her phone, her everything was there, and the window was open. So the window in her room was open. So that kind of gives you that inclination that she was planning to return back through that same window.
Yeah.
LaShaya's friends and her ex-boyfriend were questioned by the police, but no one was suspected of foul play, and no information helped in the search for LaShaya. Her family did countless searches in the neighborhood and around the area in the city, and nothing really came up. The investigation explored various angles, including human trafficking. There were multiple tips that came in where people alleged sightings of LaShaya going in and out of motels in town that were known to be involved in trafficking in this area. I mean, it's kind of, I can't imagine what her mom was feeling. Your daughter's missing, but you're getting all of these tips that she's still in the area, but you can't find her.
Right. And to me, it's like, what do you want? I don't know, as a parent, you can't find your daughter, but you're hearing tips about them possibly being trafficked. And I guess that's a little bit of hope that they're okay, but not really okay,
Not
but,
really, yeah.
alive enough to go and retrieve them.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter what, no, you don't even want to hear that.
Yeah. Some of these sightings claim to have seen her with a man that was possibly taking her across state lines as well. So because of this, the FBI did get involved. It's a minor over state lines now. One of these tips was very concerning because it described a scar that LaShaya has on her chest. It's a very distinctive scar. It's about a quarter-sized round scar that's on her chest. Not
Okay.
many people would know that.
Right.
So somebody did, call in with this tip and describe this scar like I really seen her.
Well,
But
how did they see a scar on her chest unless they were up close?
maybe she had on a low-cut shirt or
Okay.
but they still had to be pretty close. It's a quarter
Right.
size. Um but despite these tips, um even some claims came from actual victims of trafficking saying that they had saw her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so but her exact location, it remained unknown. Like they still couldn't find her. There were hundreds of calls, tips claiming that they knew where LaShaya was and who she was with. Many tips singled out specific hotels, in other parts of Denver and in other states. But many of them did prove to be false and were cases of mistaken identity, or the tip came too late. And by the time they showed up, it had been cleared out. Um, LaShaya's mother has said that they have received tips that her daughter was seen with a woman who is actually known to recruit for traffickers.
Oh, man.
So I think this hasn't been proven, it hasn't been confirmed by police. But I think as a mom, this would be tearing me up inside, like, okay, it's possible she's still alive, but what is she actually living through?
Right. I mean, I would be knocking on hotel doors. I'd be on the back page trying to see, are they posting pictures of her online to try to, I don't know.
I would assume that the investigators were doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Trying to see if they can find advertisements and things like that with her picture.
Right.
But her mom her mom thinks that this could be plausible because she did say that her daughter was very trusting. She could be very trusting. Mm-hmm. And members of the family have described LaShaya. She was very smart. She was sweet. She was very kind, but she was a bit sheltered and naive. Mm-hmm. And this is how traffickers, this is how they, prey upon young people, and they exploit them this way.
Right.
And
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry, but this is, I mean, on the internet, I have a 13-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. So I'm always trying to, talk to her and make her aware that even if someone seems to be a good person online, you can't trust just a random person online. And I know that they do prey after these girls who are more naive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It is. It's very hard. In 2019, an age-progressed photo of LaShaya was released, and this renewed the search efforts. But more recently, in November of 2020, Aurora police searched a house in the vicinity where LaShaya was last seen. Despite intensive searches, and even equipment was brought in to break through concrete.
Oh, wow.
So this makes me speculate, and I'm only speculating, obviously, that there was some sort of hard evidence for this to happen.
Right.
But no significant breakthroughs have been reported ever about what went on, if anything was found. We don't know. And we both know that police tend to keep certain details close to the chest. And we all know that police like to keep certain details, close to the chest, especially on unsolved or open cases, so that all of the information is not out.
Right.
So we don't know if anything ever came from that search or not. But, the haunting details of LaShaya's disappearance point towards the possibility of human trafficking. This is a theory that the Aurora Police Department continued to explore. Trafficking often ensnares its victims by isolating them from their friends and family. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what happened with LaShaya.
Yeah.
LaShaya's story is one of a beloved sister and daughter whose absence leaves an irreplaceable void. Her family's devotion to finding her is unwavering, even as the tips diminish and the road ahead remains uncertain. It's been about 7 years. There hasn't been any significant changes in the case. Again, although at the beginning there were hundreds and hundreds of calls, it's 7 years later and it's not
It
as,
slows down.
it slowed
Yeah.
down. The longing for answers and resolution remains, and the hope to find LaShaya lives on. The case of LaShaya Stine underscores the importance of sharing these stories to keep the search alive and to encourage anyone with information to please come forward. If you have any sort of information regarding this case, please contact the Aurora Police Department at 303-739-6164. And you can anonymously call the Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-7867. All of this information will be included in the description below. Just as a reminder, when LaShaya did disappear, she was approximately 5'6", about 150 pounds, with long black hair, brown eyes, and a quarter-size round scar on her chest.
Whew. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say that I really appreciated how you made sure to say her name multiple times throughout the episode, because it's important that we keep these women, girls, name alive. So if you missed it, LaShaya Stine is her name. And also, I want to say that this case really brought to mind this show that I had been watching on. I actually binge watched the whole series. It's on ID. It's on Discovery Plus. I don't remember the name of it, y'all, and I'm sorry. But the whole thing was about a team of people who are decoys online to catch predators that are, on there searching for kids. And if you have Discovery Plus, look for it, because it will educate you on how often and how many people are out there searching for underage girls. And it can be for any reason. And being that she was 16, and she maybe went out of the window, maybe was talking to someone online who lured her.
That's
And
definitely a possibility.
right, it's just good to educate ourselves that this is not something that's like a myth. Human trafficking is not a myth. It's
It's
real,
real.
and it's rampant, and it may not be what you're thinking when you hear trafficking, a van of people taking people to Mexico to traffic them. That's not always the case. The case is that it happens in America, and it's happening everywhere. So
All over
it's
the world.
right. It happens everywhere. So it's not a myth. It is very prevalent. So just educate your own kids for sure
It's
about.
one of those things that it's uncomfortable, and
Hmm.
it's something that no one wants to really talk about until it hits very, very close to home. It's easy to deny or
Right.
just imagine that it doesn't exist because it doesn't touch you or your family, but it affects a lot of people,
Right.
millions of people. And until we, come together as a society and recognize that this is a huge problem that's not going away, um, it's it's not going to get better. And it's not always just human trafficking. It's most people are like you said, oh, a van just, coming to take me to some foreign country.
Right.
It's not always a sexual thing. There are people who are used as cheap labor
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
human, slave labor. They promise them, um, you know, money to send back home, and you can
Right.
work your way out of this contract. And it's not always like a sexual thing, and they're just working as cheap labor, cleaning people's houses, cleaning businesses.
As
The
free
business
labor.
as free labor. The businesses think that they're hiring a legitimate company, but they're trafficking free enslaved labor. And this is something it's something that needs to be talked about in an open discussion.
Yeah, I think it's easy. I can't speak for all countries, but I feel like it's easy in America to keep your blinders on,
Mhm.
because if you didn't grow up in certain areas of the world, you may not be easily touched by these things.
Yeah.
And it's easy to keep your blinders on and pretend that this isn't happening, but it is happening. And with the internet, it really can happen to anyone at this point. All it takes is a young person who is seeking attention, or not even seeking it,
Companionship.
but um,
Companionship.
companionship. It could be your teenage daughter or son who is just having a hard time at school. They don't want, teenagers don't want to talk to their parents, but they're online, and they're maybe in the gaming community, maybe just in a chat room, maybe just on Facebook, and they sense that stuff out. They sense
Yeah.
out these kids who are seeking something, and they play on that weakness, and you never know. Like, this is why I try to talk to my daughter, because I'm like, if even if you're going through something, don't trust that a stranger on the internet knows you better than your family. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a hard thing to think about, to imagine, and my heart goes out to the family, because I know it has to be hard.
It has to be. Yeah. So this does conclude our episode today. We'll include all relevant information in the description box below.
Right. And let's discuss it in the
Yeah.
comment section. If y'all have anything to add, any story you want to tell, anything, let's discuss it in the comment. Also follow us on Facebook. We can discuss it there, or on Instagram. We'll have all links in the description box. Also, if you're seeing this and you know anything, whether you think big or small, contact the
Yeah.
numbers down below.
We're also open to case suggestions in the comments as well.
Right.
In the comments, or send us a message. I think we're going to have a form that'll be in the description box as well. But we are super grateful that, we are back on schedule with our podcast, and we hope that you will enjoy us next week.
We really do. And also, to go back to the requests, if y'all do have requests, remember our focus on this podcast is for women of color. Even if it's not women of color, you can of course request it, and why you requested it, and we'll consider it. But just also remember our mission and our focus.
Absolutely.
So I think that's all we have today.
It is. We also wanted to say thank you again for being with us through our transitional period of the rebranding. We're working on background. This is not our permanent background. Hopefully, the next few episodes will have these changes made. But the important thing was continuing our podcast and getting these stories out, and the vanity can come later.
Right.
So we appreciate you taking time out of your day to join and listen to our case today. And please be safe, and have a great day.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.